Sometimes a football game doesn't just expose bad play, it exposes an entire franchise. London wasn't supposed to be that. It was supposed to be a celebration, a global showcase for the Cleveland Browns, a chance to prove to the world that this team was turning a corner. But instead, it turned into a slow-motion disaster broadcast across the planet. Because while Dillon Gabriel was stumbling through another forgettable performance, Shedeur Sanders, the most hyped young quarterback on the roster, stood on the sideline, ready, locked in, and completely ignored. And I'm telling you, that silence from Shedeur's camp, that look in his eyes on the sideline, it said more than any post-game presser ever could. This wasn't just a loss. This was Cleveland showing the world exactly what's wrong inside their walls. I watched that game and I could feel it. The Browns didn't just lose 21-7 to the Vikings, they lost something far more important: credibility.
Tired of boring phone cases? Here's your chance. My Etsy shop is packed with exclusive designs that let you show off your team pride in style. And the best part, you'll unlock discounts when you hit favorite, more savings when you add to cart, and even surprise discounts on your second purchase. Don't wait. Click the link in the description and grab your favorite now.
In front of a packed crowd at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium and millions watching across the world, the Browns showed everyone that pride still outweighs progress in Cleveland. This was their chance to showcase Shedeur Sanders, a quarterback with real poise, real charisma, and the kind of talent that electrifies fan bases. Instead, Kevin Stefanski stuck to his guns, rolling with Dillon Gabriel, a guy who had already shown exactly what he was capable of, and what he wasn't. And as drive after drive crumbled, Shedeur just stood there, helmet on, waiting for the call that never came. Even the broadcasters couldn't believe it. British analysts, normally polite to a fault, started questioning the decision live on air. Fans in the stands were chanting. Cameras kept cutting to Shedeur, almost begging for that redemption arc to begin. But it never did. The Browns, on an international stage, proved one painful truth: internal politics are calling the plays now. And if you've been following this team, you know this isn't about one bad game. This goes deeper, way deeper. Reports have started leaking out, whispers of front office dysfunction, tension between Stefanski and executives, and contract incentives that allegedly make it cheaper to keep Gabriel on the field, even when it costs the team wins. You can't make this up. This is the kind of behind-the-scenes chaos that kills franchises from the inside out. Players feel it. The locker room feels it. And fans? They've already chosen sides. I saw Shedeur on that sideline, calm but visibly frustrated. He didn't need to throw a tantrum. He didn't need to yell. His body language said it all. It said, "You know I'm ready. You know I can help. You just won't let me." And that right there, that's the kind of moment that breaks a locker room. Some players are quietly frustrated, others are starting to make subtle comments in interviews, and the rest are just tired of pretending this is fine. Meanwhile, fans are lighting up social media. Analysts across the US and even overseas are ripping the Browns for wasting potential. The headlines weren't about the final score. They were about a team too stubborn to save itself. Let's be real, this wasn't about strategy. This was about pride. Stefanski's refusal to pivot wasn't about faith in Gabriel, it was about protecting his own narrative. And when a coach starts doing that, when ego replaces adaptability, you don't just lose games, you lose trust. Sanders has done everything right: performed in practice, studied film, kept his head down. He's prepared. He's composed. He's ready. But the Browns are treating him like a threat instead of an asset. That's not leadership. That's fear disguised as control. And here's the crazy part: this game was winnable. 21-7 sounds like a beating, but it wasn't. A spark from Shedeur could have flipped the energy completely. You could feel how badly that team needed life, and he was right there, a heartbeat away from changing everything. But Stefanski wouldn't do it. And as those final minutes ticked away, I realized something. This wasn't just one coach's mistake. This was the entire organization showing who they really are, a team trapped by their own stubbornness. Even ownership is reportedly frustrated now. And they should be. The Browns were given the spotlight, an NFL showcase in London, and instead of making it count, they turned it into a case study in dysfunction. When performance stops dictating playing time, when politics and bonuses start steering decisions, you lose more than games, you lose your identity. The locker room knows it. The fans know it. And everyone can see that Shedeur Sanders represents everything this team refuses to embrace: youth, leadership, and the future. But every week they keep him benched, that future slips further away. Let's not sugarcoat it. What's happening in Cleveland right now is organizational malpractice. It's one thing to make a tough call and be wrong. It's another to ignore every warning sign, refuse to adapt, and double down while your season burns. That's not coaching. That's ego. And in the modern NFL, ego doesn't just cost you your job, it costs you your team. If Stefanski's trying to prove something, he's proving the wrong thing. If ownership wants to show fans they still care about winning, this is the moment to act. Because right now, the message is clear. Winning is optional. Pride is mandatory. The fix? It's right there. Shedeur Sanders is right there. No traps, no miracles. Just one decision. Put him on the field. Because the only thing worse than being wrong is refusing to make it right. Fans want accountability. Analysts want change. Even players want a direction. But the ones in power, they're still pretending everything's fine. The Browns had a chance to step into a new era, to trust a young quarterback with poise and fire, but instead, they chose pride. And now, they're stuck in the same cycle that's haunted this franchise for decades. Regret, embarrassment, excuses. So here's the real question. Is anyone in Cleveland brave enough to admit the truth? Because everyone else already knows it. Shedeur Sanders should have played. The fans knew it. The locker room knew it. The world saw it. And until somebody in that building faces that reality, the Browns aren't just losing games, they're losing their future. And trust me, this story's far from over. Because if there's one thing Cleveland never runs out of, it's drama. So go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Because the next chapter in this chaos, it's coming sooner than they think. And when it does, you'll want to be right here to watch it all unfold. Let's be honest, the Browns are standing on a cliff right now. The front office keeps hiding behind contracts, cap talk, and PR spin while the product on the field collapses. That can't continue. Football decisions have to start coming from football minds, not accountants or egos. And Kevin Stefanski? He's out of time. Either he adjusts, or he becomes another name in Cleveland's long history of wasted potential. Because the window to win isn't next year. It's now. If you're Shedeur Sanders, you're trapped in a nightmare. You're ready, capable, and locked in, but your team refuses to give you the shot you've earned. How long before he and his camp start asking, why stay here? Because make no mistake, the rest of the league is watching. There are coaches and GMs who'd build entire systems around a quarterback like Shedeur. Meanwhile, Cleveland's letting him rot on the sideline while the offense sputters. And if you're a Browns fan, I feel your pain. You've seen this same story too many times, new faces, same heartbreak. But this one stings more because this time, the answer was right there. They had it, and they refused to use it. Shedeur Sanders didn't fail the Browns failed him. What's next? Another season lost to arrogance and mismanagement? Or a late pivot towards something real? A future that's still within reach if someone in charge swallows their pride? Because right now, this franchise looks like it's spiraling. And it's hard to tell if they even want to pull out of the dive. Stefanski's refusal to act wasn't a small mistake. It was a statement that his system matters more than his players. That control matters more than wins. And that pride outweighs performance. That's not leadership. That's ego. London was supposed to be a showcase. Instead, it turned into an international embarrassment. The whole world watched the Browns crumble under their own stubbornness. When your starter is stalling, your offense is flatlining, and your young, talented quarterback is ready to go, and you still don't make the switch, that's not strategy. That's pride disguised as discipline. Dillon Gabriel isn't the villain. He's just the symptom. The real problem is fear. Fear of admitting mistakes, fear of change, fear of losing control. And that fear is killing this team from the inside out. Players feel it. Fans feel it. You can't lead a locker room when everyone in it knows the decisions are driven by ego, not results. That's how trust dies, not in one big explosion, but slowly, in quiet moments when belief fades. And you can't call this development. There's nothing developmental about wasting opportunities. You don't fly across an ocean to embarrass yourself on an international stage and then act like it's part of the plan. It's not strategy, it's denial. And if those rumors are true, if Gabriel's contract incentives are keeping him on the field, that's beyond football. That's a betrayal of everything winning teams stand for. You don't build a culture by managing spreadsheets. You build it by playing the best man for the job. Meanwhile, Shedeur's not just a quarterback, he's a spark, a leader, a brand. He's the one player who could reignite belief in a city that's forgotten what that feels like. But Cleveland keeps wasting that energy, that momentum, and that chance. It's the same pattern every time: protect the system, defend the hierarchy, and call it patience. But we've seen how that story ends. And here's the truth: Stefanski could have changed the narrative. One decision, one adjustment. Instead, he chose pride over progress. He chose to prove a point instead of proving he can win. Control over what? Because he's sure not controlling the scoreboard, the morale, or the direction of this team. This isn't just a football problem, it's a culture problem. When a locker room realizes effort doesn't matter, preparation doesn't matter, and results don't matter, only obedience, the entire structure collapses. Once that trust is gone, you can't just coach it back into existence. If they don't make a change soon, if they don't give Shedeur Sanders the shot he's earned, they won't just lose him, they'll lose the entire locker room. And once he's gone, half the league will line up to sign him. Teams that know how to recognize leadership when they see it. And when that happens, Cleveland will once again release one of those statements we've all memorized: we wish him the best, but it just wasn't the right fit. No, the right fit is right here, and they're too blind to see it. The Browns are paralyzed by fear. Fear of being wrong, fear of change, fear of taking risks. But you don't win in this league by playing it safe. Safe benches Shedeur Sanders in a winnable game. Safe gets booed in 2 time zones at once. Safe kills momentum, and Cleveland is running out of time. At some point, someone in that building needs to stop worrying about optics and start worrying about wins. Because right now, this franchise leads the league in regret. Fans flew across the world to watch this team. They believed. They wanted to believe that maybe, just maybe, this year was different. But what they got was the same heartbreak, broadcast globally, with cameras zoomed in on Shedeur's helmet as he stood there, waiting, ready, and ignored. So here's the question, Cleveland, what now? Do you keep pretending this is all part of some bigger plan, or do you finally admit the mistake, make the change, and let Shedeur Sanders take the field before it's too late? Because the way I see it, this story only has 2 endings: collapse or redemption. And if you want front row seats to whichever one we get, whether it's another meltdown or the miracle moment when Cleveland finally wakes up, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Because this story, it's not over, not even close.